Hey, Andrew, you can hear us. We can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. All right, Donna, go ahead. If you could just call it to order again now that we're recording, that's perfect.
Okay, so we're going to call the Parks and Rec Commission meeting to order. That being said, now I'm looking for the agenda on my phone. I don't want to pull it up. Oh, I know, I got it here. Hold on. Okay, do we have anybody for audience of citizens? Jen, I saw Alan Pipkin was going to join us.
Nope, he has withdrawn his request to sell at the Little League field, so he is not joining us, and we can eliminate consent item number letter B. And in looking at the chat, I think if anyone was called, so it doesn't look like we have any audience of citizens. And Don is coming.
Sorry, I just tried to get home from Hartford. It was crazy driving home in this weather.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, so Don's on. Don, I was just saying that we don't have Alan Pipkin for audience of citizens. He withdrew his request to sell at the Little League fields.
Okay. So listen, just give me a second. I just literally came in, logged in. I got to get my paperwork out of my briefcase. Okay. So just give me a minute. I'll just be right back.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back. Thanks.
Okay, so we've called the meeting to order. Nobody on audience of citizens. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of March 14th?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from March 14th.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, so minutes pass unanimously. Consent agenda, as Jen had said, item B comes off the list. So we have item 3A. It's a request of approval for the class of, it reads 2020, to sell food, beverages, and merchandise at Berlin High events during the 2021 school year.
So whoever
Hey, Don, is this
read 2021.
I was about to say.
Yeah.
One says,
No, whoever makes the motion to accept item 3A just needs to word it to make the correction to change it to class of 2021.
okay, so you don't need us to make a motion to change it?
No, I
It's on
think
the agenda? Okay.
Dana,
We do.
any ideas?
I think we officially do.
Okay.
All right, so with that, can I hear a motion to amend item 3A so that it reads request approval for the class of 2021, blah, 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 wording as presented?
I'll motion to correct 3A to read class of 2021 for the rest, and the rest as presented.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion on that? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay, so now can I hear a motion to accept consent agenda 3A, which reads request approval for the class of 2021 to sell food, et cetera, through the 2021 school year?
I make a motion to accept consent agenda 3A.
Okay, second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that passes unanimously. Okay.
Before we move on to Parks and Grounds, we have a call-in user. I want to see if it's any. Is there someone on the meeting?
This is Steve. I just got in finally.
Okay. Hi, Steve.
Hey, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
All right, go ahead, Donnie, you can continue.
Okay, so Steve, we just passed the consent agenda item 3A. 3B was eliminated, no audience of citizens.
I just caught the end of that change in the motion for class of 2021, so I'm all set.
Okay, great. All right. Okay, Parks and Grounds, then you guys want to go through the monthly report?
Nothing really exciting. We're finally back up to full staff after the last couple of months. We planted the 4,000 annual flowers throughout town in preparation for Memorial Day. We put the flags up on Farmington Avenue with Bigelow Electric's help. Our bucket truck was currently down, and they came out and put up all the flags along Farmington Avenue for free to assist us and the veterans for the holiday. Besides that, we serviced equipment. We did a couple of flower beds, especially at Volunteer Park, and I don't know if you've seen that. And that pretty much concludes it.
Okay, any questions? Anybody have any questions?
Steve, I just want to say a big shout out to you. The fields look really good. You drove by again, most of the fields. I mean, last time when we spoke, you were going to take out all the weeds within the infields, and some of the fields that I saw, you did a great job. So pass the thanks on to the team, please. Nice work.
Thank you, Don.
Yeah, you guys did a great job. Did really well.
Okay. Thanks, Steve. So with that, we're going to go to the banner policy. Everybody's received the banner policy. I hope you've read it. I know it's more wordy than what we had presented before. That being said, we're going to have a motion. I'm going to entertain a motion to accept the banner policy as written, and then of course we have a discussion phase of that. So can I have a motion to discuss, or a motion to pass the banner policy as presented?
I'll make a motion to pass the banner policy as presented.
In a second?
I'll second Don.
Okay, with that, if we could open it up for discussion, I'm gonna ask, Joe just emailed me a little while ago with, I know, one comment, Joe, that you have. And so with that, do you want to talk to the commissioners about number 5?
Sure. So, number one, thank you for writing this, the banner policy. I thought it was, I thought it's well written. I think it tries to address as best as we possibly can any potential issues or concerns or constraints that we have to work with going forward. The only reservation that I had, and this is what I reached out to Donna to discuss, section number 8, section A, subset 4. It states that it's strongly suggested that the Berlin High School boosters work with the teams to come to a location agreement prior to presenting at a commission meeting. The only reservation that I had with that is that can become somewhat of a contentious discussion and perhaps go sideways and not foster an environment of we're all working together to try to make it an equal level playing field, pardon the pun, when it comes to the banner policy and how we set up banners within the town and specifically at Sage Park or at Scalise Field. So what I was suggesting was that we insert in there that the athletic director has to be engaged as well. Specifically with the boosters, it comes down to the Friends of reps who represent the teams that are posting banners at that specific field. So for example, at Scalise Field, you would have, for example, the Friends of reps representing the men's and girls lacrosse teams, or the football team, or the men's and girls soccer teams. Other teams that are not involved with Scalise Field, not that they would be excluded, but they could participate in the discussion, but the actual allocation of space and defining what banners are being put up by what teams would rest with the teams that specifically use those fields and those locations. And the athletic director would be involved in that dialogue as well.
Okay.
Hey, Jennifer, do you have the document up on your computer?
I have it in my hand.
Oh, you don't have it on electronic, because I was going to say, can you share the document for all of us to see by chance?
I would have to look through my emails.
Does anyone have it that they can share?
I have it, but I'm not familiar with WebEx. With Zoom, I know how to do it.
If you go up top where it says share, on the top here, and just click on share, and then share your desktop.
It says share content, web browser.
Share content.
Okay.
And then the document will come up. And the only reason why I'm asking for it, honestly, I'm on my other PC. You probably sent that to my home email. I haven't had a chance to get to that yet. I know what the policy says, because I did give Donna some comments. Joe, if I may, I mentioned to Donna about including the boosters, and the only reason why I was suggesting that, there you go, Donna, good job. The only reason why,
Donna.
Yeah,
the
no,
only
I'm
reason why
pulling.
I was bringing that up, Joe, was only because was thinking that, if in fact it was discussed at that level, right? Similar to other things that when Don and I were presidents of the boosters, we used to have some of those conversations before we ever went in front of the Park and Rec Committee. And it worked out pretty nicely. So the recommendation when I spoke to Donna about doing that was just because understand you're part of the commission, you may be able to give some insight around some of it. But if you feel that it's not the right way to go because there's going to be too much fighting, then that's fine. But just was thinking about trying to reduce any type of stress before it ever gets to us.
And I do agree with you that the objective and the hope is that it's not a contentious discussion, Don, but I think if we insert the athletic director as kind of a mediator and an arbitrator in that process, it would help.
So how about if you look at 4, and I have 4 up on the screen. I'm just going to bring my arrow down. So where it says for Berlin High School, it's strongly suggested. What if we said that the Berlin High School athletic director, boosters, and team representatives, they work together to come to a location agreement prior to coming to the commission meeting? I mean, it just adds the AD in it.
Yeah. Hey, Donna, are you on number 4?
Yeah.
You gotta just, I don't know what everyone else is seeing. I'm only seeing 5, 6, and 7, so you may have to go.
Okay, I see it on
Oh,
my
it's at
screen.
it's at the bottom of her screen right now. Oh, now you went
You
to
see
4.
number 4? It's right here.
Now it's like in the middle.
For Berlin High School. Do you see it, Don?
No, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing number 10 now. Sorry, is it me?
So, Don, move up a little. 4 is a subsection of number 8. So it's 8A, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I got it. Never mind. Yes, I see it. My
All right.
mistake. My
So see
mistake.
where it reads number 4 in the middle, for Berlin High School, it is strongly suggested, we could say that the BHS athletic director, boosters,
Boosters.
or
Yeah.
athletic director and boosters work with the teams. Is that okay?
I think it's fine. What about you, Joe?
I think that's spot on. I think that's very good.
Okay. So we add that the BHS athletic director and those 3 words there. Now,
Tony, what's your thoughts? I know that you were involved with some of the conversations last year around banners. So does that meet your needs based on the?
I agree adding in the athletic director, but it's a very toughly worded paragraph. Joe's right to have representatives of all 5 of those teams. It's written that we should have a representative present at Parks and Rec Commission July meeting. That's impossible. It would be almost impossible to have those booster reps come to a Park and Recs meeting. They'd have to sign off on something.
Well, then, and in my opinion, no ticky, no laundry, Tony. I mean, the bottom line, if you want to do it, you do it. If you, I mean, it's almost like our playing field commission, right? These people decide that they come and they become it's an advantage for them coming. Those people who don't come miss out, and they miss out.
And I don't think it has to be at the July meeting. I think if they want to come to the June meeting because they already have everything in order and they know what they want to do in the fall, why not let them come to the June meeting early?
As long as they come, Jennifer, that's the problem.
I agree. They need to come.
So for us, for the boosters, for our point of view, the way it works is our last meeting is June. And then they're off July, August, September, July and August, restart again in September. So all the teams, they start their games in September, football and soccer. So that's 3 teams that get going. Lacrosse, we don't really worry about that because they don't start until the spring. But those 3 teams, they're really off for the summer. So how, in other words, we would have to get football or soccer or men's soccer to kind of bang heads together, the 3 of them with the athletic director, with what they want. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, Tony, you're right. July 1 is early, but the issue is that we approve it in July, then it has to go, Jen has to go to planning and zoning,
Yeah.
get it approved, and then she has to go to a council meeting, all to be done.
I think I need to go to council. I have to look into that.
So really the process should start
The
like.
process that you explained, Jen, was that you go to planning and zoning and the council only has to approve the policy.
Correct. Once council approves the policy, according to the ordinance, it just has to be approved by Park and Rec. So I don't believe we have to go to council if the policy is approved.
Okay. So we at least have to go to planning and zoning. Teams want to have a banner up. They have to wait for that process to be done.
Cat walking across the screen.
If we approve the policy, say, if you got to make changes, so say next month, we're not going to be able to explain this to the full group of the boosters until they meet in July and September, because we don't even know boosters are representing what teams yet.
Right. For this year, I can see an issue.
Yeah.
And if you're unable to get people here to our July 14th meeting, then allow an exception, right, to make it for the
policy. Yeah, the policy won't even be approved until July because of the council meeting.
Fair to say, though, that at least for this upcoming school year, for the fall school year, there's only certain teams that are going to be interested in having this discussion for the fall. And that a couple of us could reach out to those teams, the current Friends of Reps, get their buy-in and consensus as to what we're doing and what they would like to see, current reps that are identified for those sports that are active in the fall.
And we might need to give them some time for this first year, for this first season, right? But this policy is going forward, and we can, maybe we have to insert a section, just say for, the fall sports season in 2020, we delay it until September 1st, but they can't hang any banners then until that point.
Hey, Donna, what happens if, and I don't know, Jen, if this would work based on what you said, but if we were to do a similar field meeting with all the all the folks that are interested in doing the sign, so we call it a sign meeting for the fall sports, and we do that in August at our August meeting, does that give you enough time to get your approvals for September 1 work or not?
I'd have to look at when the P&Z meeting is, but I think we'd be able to move forward with that. I mean, maybe not September 1, but maybe by, first couple weeks of September for sure. All in a meeting together to kind of explain what this new policy is, because you're going to have people like Bill Pettit, who has put signs up for a number of years and never had to get approval, that is already asking if he's grandfathered into this policy. And we have to explain to him that, no, you're going to have to take pictures of all your, bring them to commission and get them approved.
So, I mean,
Jen, Don, if I can just interrupt. So
Sure.
these dates align with the field reservation policy,
I saw
which
that.
for fall sports season, the deadline for requests is July 1st.
Correct.
So, for the high school, again, we make an exception so that they can get together, and whether it's August
right.
or September, I'd choose August so that if they wanted to put up some signs for September 10th, if that's their opening day, they can do that.
Yeah, what I would do is invite them all to the August meeting and make that a sign, just like we do in January with field users. Anyone that wants to put up signs, come to August, because we're going to unveil the new banner policy and we want to make sure everyone's moving forward.
Or Jen, if we have to do two meetings, one for the high school, only because of the fact that high school has its fall sports. And like Donna said, like a Bill Pettit, that group may be a little bit later. We can do it. I think what I'm just trying to do is figure out how do we address what Tony and Joe were just saying about their boosters are not truly available for July. Somehow, some way, we have to make sure they're notified, because otherwise we're going to be in the same boat again for the fall sports, right, Donna? What do you think?
Yeah, has the AD been hired yet?
No.
No.
So there's no AD. So it's really up to the boosters and to the teams. And I would ask, Tony, Joe, you guys, the players, if you can get to the teams, give them a copy of the final policy, give it to them now, and then say, look, you got to come. And it does have to be August, right? We meet August 14th, thereabouts, maybe a little earlier. We don't meet till September 14th, and by that time they're playing.
Okay,
Right.
Yeah, that's doable.
we can do that.
Yeah, I like that approach. This way we can at least get the fall sport out of the way, and there should hopefully be no problems.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, Tony, when Donna and I were doing boosters, we used to meet in July. I think we used to meet in July, and then we used to have August off and then come right back into September. So we were thinking you guys would be okay.
We had, it's been such a messed up year this year that we don't know what's up or down yet, but, we met last week, and I know that they're off, but, absolutely we'll reach out to the three teams involved for the fall and let them know what's happening.
Thank you.
Okay. Jen, we're going to have to make a modification to this to cover for this year for August.
Yeah, so here's what I'm thinking, because the bottom line is, once you guys approve the wording of the document, I then have to, I'm just going to reformat it a little bit to match the field facility use policy just for uniformity.
Yeah.
But it also needs to go to our corporation council for language check before I even submit it to council. So if you want to make a motion that you're going to accept it pending a few formatting and wording changes by me and corporation council, that might work. And then once corporation council sees it, I can send it to everybody for any other feedback.
Right. So, yeah, okay, that works. And the two changes right now are just the wording to add the athletic director and in number 4, and then the subsection 4. And then we want an exception built into the timing just for this year, for 2020, to allow the high school sports to come to our August meeting. Okay.
I'll figure out
You
where
got
to put
those.
that in and do that.
Okay.
And I'll run
Okay.
that by you, Don.
Okay, so with that, now, are there any other concerns, questions the commissioners have?
Hey, Donna, Donna, can I just, first of
Yeah.
all, I agree with Joe. Thank you very much. You did an outstanding job on this document. Is Bill Pettit's, the Little League, going to be the only area that we know of today that has those signs up that we may have concerns about with grandfathering in based on his conversations with you, Jen?
Yeah, I mean, besides the football banners at Scalise, Steven, that's pretty much it around town, right? It's Little League banners?
That's the only banners I know of is Little League banners.
Yeah.
Okay, and Donna, correct me if I'm wrong, but your policy the policy that our policy, right? But the policy you took some of that into consideration. I remember when you and I spoke on the phone one night, there were a couple of things that you did take into consideration around some of those items. So Bill's only concern is he has to come out in front to get approval, correct?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
And just to be fair on that, so Jen sent out this morning pictures. I went around and taken, and so if you haven't had a chance to look at it, she did send out an email early or later this afternoon. There is one sign that's up on the dugouts at Sage softball field. And that is a sign that from the Berlin High School softball team that thanks those companies that actually built the dugouts gratis. And so that's why I've included, that in there. I wouldn't think it's something that would be taken down. And if you look at number 1, where it says see pics of Scalise Sage 1 dugouts, kind of the wording that kind of takes care of it. So where it says, can you see it on my screen?
Yes.
All banners or signs on any sports field are temporary, blah, blah, blah. No banner or signs are to be permanent in nature except those that are posted and or required by the town of Berlin or state of Connecticut, those comprised of metal or wood material hung on the backstop, parentheses backside, that's for Pettit and the softball fields because they hang their championship banners on the backside of the backstops. Fence, dugouts, which is to take care of the Sage 1, or buildings naming the field. There are names on the buildings, there are names on the backstops, Beretta, for instance.
Yep.
Which, like you said, were all approved by us already.
Right. So.
Yeah, and Donna, the only other one that I recall, and that's at Pettit, is the pavilion that was built. I believe there's a sign there that was also indicates the sponsors that built it and donated, and that was approved as part of the pavilion as well.
Right, you're talking about a Pettit.
Yes, I am.
Yep, and that shows up in a picture that you guys have. That's right. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Donna, there's 2 banners that are at Sage Scalise. One's the Class Act banner, which was put up, I'd assume by the high school, which is falling down actually. And then there's another one, it's a memorial banner that's right in the area where the statue is of the other memorial. We shouldn't have to really approve any memorial banners. I mean, there was a dedication at one point, I assume, for that, right?
Well, now that's interesting, Tony. Thanks for adding that. So I did go to Scalise, and if you look at the pictures, I did see that one banner that's coming down.
Yeah.
That should come off because it's not tied properly, and it would come off based on this policy anyway. And then there's another one, it's in the pictures, and it's a metal board on the fence naming the field, Memorial Field, and the field regulations.
Yeah.
But I never did see a memorial banner. So I don't know where that is. But
it's right behind the statue, isn't it? Isn't there a memorial?
Are you talking about the Zuck? You talking about Zuck? Yeah, I don't know if that's still up or not. Steve, do you know? Didn't it come down?
Yes, I believe they take both banners down at the end of the season so they don't get weathered and damaged.
Okay.
Right, but Tony, to your point, right? I think you're right. They did do a memorial for Zuck, and then they also did a memorial for I just lost Teacup, number 19. Yep. So they did those. Yep, you're right, Tony.
Real ones probably could get excluded out of the.
Well, no, what would normally happen, because they're going to go up again for the season, right? So they would include those banners and they're appropriate. There's nothing wrong with them. So they would include those banners in their request for us to approve for that season. It's temporary in nature.
Football would, I assume.
Right, because they're the ones that put it up. And again, the spacing and, you know, who gets where and all that, that's what we're trying to ask the high school to handle as a group before coming in to see us, because otherwise, you know, we're going to make a decision. So, but yes, those would be submitted each season.
I had brought that up at a boosters meeting, and when we were discussing the sign issue last fall, that got brought up about the memorials, and it was very, it was a hot button topic.
Tony and Donna, I don't know if the football team actually puts those up, because remember now, T-COP has its own memorial foundation, and so does Zuck. So I don't know if that, like Zuck, I believe that memorial foundation is run by I think John Demko and the parents. So I don't know. I don't know how that works, honestly.
So if those banners are going to go up, who's ever responsible for putting them up should come before our commission and ask for that space and be approved. Again, every season.
Yeah, I just think we need to figure out who the appropriate people are for those two that Tony's mentioning, because unless I'm wrong, I don't think it's just football. I think it's the foundation family. I don't know, Steve, do you know? I think so, right?
I do not know who puts them up. They're always up at the beginning of the youth football season and then taken down at the end of Berlin High School's football season.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I can check on that and find out.
And give them a copy of the final, again, this has to go to, as Jen said, it has to go to the attorney.
Right.
And then I would give them and just say it's draft until the council approves it, but give them a copy of the policy. I mean, you can even give them this and just say it's going to be changed a little bit.
Okay. Thank you.
So and Jen, obviously that comment highlighted in yellow, that comes out of the final version. That was just for the commissioners to refer to the pictures.
Yeah, and one change is done. I'm going to email you to proofread anyway.
Okay, so from staff or commissioners, any other comments or questions? These are all good. And we know, you know, this is going to be our first time going through it, so there might be changes later on, but. Okay. All right. So we have a motion on the floor, and it was seconded to accept the banner policy as presented. Now we've made some changes. So now we're going to just vote on the policy as presented, and you'd vote no, just, you know, if you don't like it as presented. And then I'll entertain a motion that will include the banner policy with the two changes, and the wording will be handled by Jen and the attorney. So for the first one though, do we have a motion? It's been seconded. Can I ask the commissioners to vote on the current policy as drafted right now? All in favor, say aye. None. All opposed, say aye.
Opposed.
Everyone's opposed, right?
Opposed.
Unanimous. Okay, so now if I can have a motion made that makes a motion to vote on the policy subject to two changes that we've discussed. One being to add the athletic director and to number 4. And then the second one will be wording that will allow the high school to come to us during an August meeting to present its request for banners being hung.
Go ahead, Joe.
Motion to accept the banner policy with the two additions, one being the athletic director and the second being the August meeting for 2020 fall sports.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Seconded?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Okay, great. Thank you.
Before we move on, for recording purposes, can you unshare your screen so it's back?
Shit, I think I just,
You just go, there you go.
I know, here we go. Okay.
Hey!
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, what's next on the agenda? Because I just took down the agenda too.
Sage 1. So Sage 1, we are officially out to bid. Bids close, bids are due Thursday, July 9th. So we're just in the waiting right now. Any questions will be, our architects will handle them, and we're just waiting to see what the final cost comes in at.
Hallelujah.
Hey, Jen, did we get all those situation or questions that Donna was asking at the last meeting we had there around the bathrooms and everything squared away? We did. Okay.
That's good.
Yeah, everything's taken care of. Good. Moving right into the field update, some good news. So when they gave us the $1 million bond, they basically had said unofficially, we're going to let you do Sage 1, but they didn't really want to borrow the rest of the money because they just, really didn't want to put further into the debt load. A couple weeks ago, Kevin had his meeting for the bond, and they're not just bonding the $1 million for fields, they're bond, they were supposed to bond like $0.7 million. My numbers may be off for a bunch of, road and bridges and stuff like that, all inclusive stuff. But they good interest rate that it looks like we are going to have money to put after Sage 1 to rooms at the building at Scalise, as well as some money for Percival, and then we will see what we have left towards Garrity and Pulcini. But the good news is that we are most likely going to get to go on the Percival to fix the Percival soccer field. We're just waiting to get the price from bathrooms from the facilities department to see how much money we may have to go towards Percival soccer. So that's good news because we didn't think we were going to get.
And that was approved by Board of Finance?
I believe.
Are they on board with that?
They're on. They've already bonded all the money and borrowed it. They've already signed on to borrow all the money, and as part of that procedure, Kevin has to say what it's going to be used for the most part. So, I mean, I got this information from Kevin. I can't imagine he would tell me we would have money for Percival soccer if we didn't have it for sure.
Okay.
I will. It does have to go before the council though. Once all the numbers are in. And then the council will decide whether to draw down on the bond or, pay for it from funds. I mean, probably the bond. So, we'll see. I do know from talking with a couple of council members that they continue to talk about, we could really use some help from some of these organizations that have money. And maybe if the town covers the cost, let's say for Percival or for Garrity and Pulcini, we still need to have discussions and, and with the groups, because remember, phase 2 of this, once Sage 1 gets done, is that we have a place for youth football, which is going to be over at the high school. And we want to get that turf or that field turned into turf, which is significant, right? It's $1.5 million, maybe $2 million. So that's where we're going to need help from these organizations that have money. If they don't pay for it now, we've got to still continue to talk to them, and I intend to do that, and I would hope that you guys could also.
Well, the only reason why I brought up Board of Finance is because the head of the Board of Finance I was talking to the other day, and he was saying that he wants to take a run at taking a hacksaw to our department. So I don't know where the heck his head's at right now. So if Delaney's telling you one thing, I'm being told another thing by the head of the Board of Finance. I really don't know if they're even going to hold up their end, because it still has to go through those guys. The board members.
From what I understand, Kevin advised the Board of Finance about the bond premium, and I think at this point, it's just a waiting game before anything gets approved anyway to see how much sage comes in and how much the bathrooms are going to come in. There was money left over from Scalise. We're hoping that money will be used to fix the bathrooms, and hopefully that won't be a majorly expensive job.
Okay.
And again, the council is the one to approve where the money's coming from and the spend. The Board of Finance has already acted. Yeah, I'll go through it with you, Andrew. That's the way the bond is written. The council has the only right to depend. The Board of Finance has already approved the bond itself. And then the council, once the numbers are known, it has to go back and the council, will make that decision. Unfortunately or fortunately, whatever, however you want to handle it. But Kevin will confirm that as well. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another part of Field's update is I just sent a 2-page email to Field users because we are looking to open Fields June 17th per the state guidelines of Reopen Connecticut. So we have sent a giant email to Field users today basically saying, hey, we're going to open Fields, but it's important that everyone follow the policy. I've drafted we're calling it the Field Facility Use Policy Addendum, which has been approved by Corporation Council. I don't need approval from Council because it's just an addendum to our existing policy that's already been approved by Council. But it's similar to what other towns are doing when they open fields. Is basically anyone that's rent the field, their main field contact, the person who's reserved the field, has to sign this addendum that says they're going to follow state, federal, and town guidelines in regards to COVID-19. So we just sent that out to everybody and I already received 3 back from people that we're going to start seeing some activity next week, probably.
Little League starting up. Do you know that?
Little League is scheduled on the fields for June 20th.
And can they run concessions or?
Concessions are not going to be open. That was a town decision. We talked to the health district and it's not worth it. So concessions open for the fall seasons, but for summer, for the just 2.5 months of July and half of June, we didn't think it would be worth the risk.
Okay. So let me just ask this then, with Little League starting to play, what are we going to do about banners? Or are we going to tell Pettit?
I think everything's been going smoothly for the number of years that we haven't had any policy in place. Just let everything be as it in place. That's just my opinion.
No, I agree. I mean, I think, if they're just going to start up at the end of this month, you said, right? End of this month, June?
17th, Wednesday.
It'd be very difficult for us to go and ask them to come to say anything to us anyways. We wouldn't be able to get them here until July. So, I mean, Bill is aware of the policies coming down, right?
Yep. And he's aware that his funding is not going to be affected, that we're not asking for a town cut for all the banners for the money he's making. It's just a formality, and it's not a surprise to him. He wants to be grandfathered in. I told him that's probably not going to happen. You're just going to have to show pictures, but.
I mean, I agree with you, Jen. I think for now, we just let things go as is and just let him know we're letting him go this year because of that. But, next year he's going to have to come to the council.
We ask him to come to the meeting when we do the high school because he has fall ball.
Right.
Good point.
Him in that group.
Good point.
We really should open it up to anybody that uses the fields just in case they want to be interested in.
That's what I think. If you want to
have a right.
Come to the meeting.
Yeah. Okay. I assume everybody else is okay with that, right? We just move as is. Right. Okay.
I would agree with that.
That sounds good.
Okay, Jen, can you go through the agenda again? I'm sorry, I don't have a hard copy.
Next is Debbie's monthly report. So I forgot to attach that in the original agenda. I emailed it out right at the end of the day today around 4:00. I can speak on behalf, Debbie's here, but I'm just going to say that when you plan for a summer for 6 months and it gets ripped away from you in a matter of hours, no choice but to try to figure out some kind of programming for the summer in a very, very short time because we are already in the second week of June. Debbie has been working extremely hard on trying to put together some form of summer programming and trying to get that implemented over the next 2 weeks, which is kind of what her monthly report goes by. It shows like everything she's been doing the last 2 weeks. And Deb, I'll let you talk about anything else you want to talk about.
All righty. Yeah, it's just, it's unfortunate that you didn't get it a little bit sooner, but I do talk about some of the programs that we're running. We're running some in-person programs, tennis lessons, but we modified the numbers from 24 down to 8. And we're working with the Tennis and Fitness Center of Rocky Hill to make sure that we have all safety procedures in place. And we're going to do dog lesson or dog obedience classes in person. Again, adults, we feel that's a lower risk. And I guess I should say the health director wants us to do nothing in person. So we're kind of doing a couple programs that I'm sure he wouldn't really give the okay to, but I feel that we've got to offer something other than virtual programming. So we're doing that. I've changed the Skyhawks. We're not going to do in person. So we're going from 9 weeks of programs to 30. Now they have 32 choices of programs that they can register for. So hopefully people do that. And a lot of towns are going along the same route. So, Berlin is not the only one doing this. A lot of towns are heading in this direction, unfortunately. So I guess, another thing, modeling and fashion camp, we'll be doing that in person too. That will be through the John Casablanca School in Rocky Hill. And they are willing to follow all the OEC guidelines. So, we're trying to do it. I'm still looking into doing some more programming, but it's very time consuming to try to set this up and make sure you have everything in line before we can advertise it. So I'm trying to just get one thing at a time done rather than work on multiple.
Yeah. So, hey, Deb, and thank you for really doing a great job trying to pull something together. I don't know if people saw, I know that Jen saw it, and you probably did too, but Berlin Buzz on Facebook and whatever the other Berlin one is, there was a bunch of people talking about the pools being closed. So I'm not sure if it came to the attention of the council, or have you guys heard any feedback yet about, or pushback internally or politically? Because Board of Finance passed, this is actually kind of upsetting, just so that everybody's clear on the commission. The Board of Finance, one of the people on Board of Finance actually got his comments into Facebook and said, don't worry, I'll take care of it and I'll bring it up to Board of Finance. The pools, should be open. Well, the Board of Finance took a vote 6-0. Pools should open up without understanding the requirements, blah, blah, blah. And then they sent it on to council, and that's the last I saw, because, if you guys can give us an update about what has transpired since.
Yeah, so we were made aware. Just to give you a backstory, we've kept you guys in the loop on our decision about pools since the very beginning. May 22nd, is that right, Deb? Is that the right date?
We met with the town manager on the 21st, which was a Thursday.
Yeah.
He agreed with our conversation with him about why it would not be this year, but he wanted to reach out to council members to get see if they supported the decision as well. He got back to us the next day that he talked to council members and they agreed with the decision to not open the pools. So that decision was made in conjunction with the town manager and council members on May 22nd. Now, because of people posting on Berlin Buzz and the state saying, hey, pools can open, people on Berlin Buzz obviously aren't familiar with all the guidelines that are being put in place for it. So Arosh has reached out to me and Debbie to say, can we open pools? Council is reaching out to Arosh to possibly want to open pools. So the bottom line is Debbie and I have drafted 2 emails in the past week, both about 2 pages long, explaining how we came to the decision to not open pools and what would be required to turn around and if we got the directive to now open Percival Pool. We're only talking Percival We've sent those emails to Arosh. He's going to share with the council. And during the town manager's report on Tuesday night, I am going to be on the phone for the town council meeting to basically go over my emails and answer any other questions they have about the pools. And council, as from what I understand, is going to make a decision Tuesday night about whether or not to give us the directive to open the pools.
Jen, can you share with the commissioners the documents you gave to Arosh so that the commissioners, sometimes council members or other people might ask us questions, and I just think it's good if people have the facts in front of them rather than talking from emotion.
Yep, first thing tomorrow morning, I will forward both of those emails. It's also important to note that Debbie and I reached out to Charlie Brown of the Central Connecticut Health District, who from day one has had the opinion of it's not worth it. Although he said, I will send you all the guidelines that the state put out today or yesterday regarding opening pools, he's adamant with his decision that it's really not a good idea. It's not worth the risk.
And you just got the state requirements today.
We got state guidelines that I think they came out yesterday. I think I was emailed them late last night or something.
Okay. Yeah, so today workday. Okay.
There were guidelines suggested through many other channels over the past few weeks, but as part of the Reopen Connecticut Phase 2, June 17th, yeah, the pool guidelines were sent out yesterday.
And then just commissioners, I know some towns are opening up. New Britain, I believe, are opening up pools, and Plainville is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Have you reached out to them to find out how they feel about operating the pools with such tough guidelines, or?
I'll comment on that I don't want to comment because I would like to keep the conversation that we had private, because I think that they spoke freely to me, but don't want their comments made public. But I think it's very stressful for everyone that's considering doing this. And also New Britain reached out to me to ask if I would send their lifeguard job announcement out to my staff, since my staff didn't have a job, which I did. And so I kind of had to go back to New Britain yesterday and just say, I don't know if you've done anything, but I might need the staff back. And they said they've already sent 5 letters out to my staff offering them a job. So that's another, they're very good, and where I've known the guys for a long time, and they said, obviously, if we open, they completely understand that, but it's a little embarrassing to have to do that. And we're kind of playing with these kids' emotions going back and forth. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it's tough. And I think, Jen hasn't mentioned it, but it also seems like they want the pools open as soon as possible. And it's not realistic. I mean, there's a lot that has to, I haven't done, I stopped working on pools for 3 weeks ago because we were closed. And that's when we do all of our training, sending out all the paperwork and getting everything organized. And you just can't do it in a week. And I don't think they understand that part of it fully, even though we've tried to explain it. So.
And you'll see in my in-depth emails, I really walk through a lot of the stuff that needs to be done in order for us to open, and how it will be a 2 to 3 week turnaround time. It's not something that's going to happen immediately. It's just not possible.
Well, what I find a little bit ridiculous about this is that this all came from the Board of this whole thing's coming from the Board of Finance, for goodness sake. I mean, I could see if it was brought to this commission and someone talked to us, or we worked together, but it's almost like circumvent everything, put the cart before the horse. And the frustration, you can understand the frustration there, because Jen, I know that you and Debbie and everybody didn't close these things lightly. You didn't do it lightly, and the state didn't put these guidelines up lightly either. And it just seems like it's coming from more of a place of emotion. That vote came from more of a place of emotion than it did come from common sense, or even listening to sage counsel. So personally,
Yeah, if it's any consolation, I mean, last night, you know, I'm an usher at St. Paul's Church, and if it's any consolation, last night I went to a meeting. They had a meeting with the ushers, and things are changing so rapidly around this whole process that I think people are just struggling to just do what's right. And then, you know, and I hear you, Deb. I mean, it is what it is, right? One point we're closed, the next point you're opening. I mean, just look at the hair salons. One day they're opening, then they're closing. Now I'm hearing that they're going to allow people to actually physically go in the barbershop pretty soon. So, you know, it starts at the top. And I think, honestly, as a commission, we just have to adapt to it. Just, I mean, I adapt to it every day at work. I mean, the challenges I have across the globe and what I got to do for my suppliers versus what I have to do for my employees stateside, I'm being asked to change policies and parameters every day. It is what it is. We're in unprecedented times that none of us ever figured we'd be on. So you just got to adapt. Bottom line.
Yeah,
I was
and as
just
I
going to
said,
say I was just going to say as a cheeky comment, I thought maybe Rob Sylvester was the one that was complaining about the pools, but
You know, and he wasn't. No, I agree with you, Don. That's funny. Yeah, yeah.
as I said, it will be discussed at Tuesday's council meeting. So if any of you guys want to get up and speak, you know, I can send you the link. Just let me know if you want to join the council meeting at all.
You could.
Okay.
Give me the link, please, Jim.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Send it out.
I just still don't know how we got circumvented in this entire process. I don't know how that happened. Personally.
Remember though, Andrew, we're an advisory commission. We don't make policy, and now that we have a board of finance, that's, I'll say, equal to town council, you know, in some sense. I think that they feel that, you know, they can push things through that they feel they want to push through things, and you know, I could see that happening. So it
Then
is
what's
too
the
bad.
point?
It will
Donna,
be the
what's the point of
council's
us?
decision.
Then what's the point of us if it's just Board of Finance is just going to go ahead and ramshot everything through, or the council's just going to ramshot everything through without having us put a working group together and take a look at something? You know what I mean?
Andrew, I'll answer your question, right? Because that was my attitude about 4 weeks ago when we had when we had the field commission meeting. But, you know, and I said the same thing. What do we do? What are we here for, right? But honestly, if you think about where we were then and what the things that has been accomplished, you know, with Donna's leadership so far, I think we've made a lot of progress. And you know, just thinking about some of the dollars that were saved and some of the things that went and the council did approve, my self-confidence in this committee has actually grown better and greater than it was about 4 or 5 weeks ago when I was in the same boat you were. So just that's just my counsel to you based on I was there before.
No, I hear you, Don. I appreciate it. It's just, it's one thing if it's town council, you know, because we report directly to town council and we serve at the pleasure. But last I checked, you know, my reading of the charter, the new charter, we don't serve at the pleasure of Board of Ed or Board of Finance or Board of Ed. You know, at what point in time do we say, hey, listen, you have a problem, bring it to us? You know, let's start having the conversation here that we can bring to the mayor and council. You know, and to me, it's just, you know, herky jerky. You're just going around, and it's almost like a shell game. You know, one of those shell games. You know, where's the ball? Where's the ball? Where's the ball? That's my point.
Okay, fair point. The other thing that I did, you know, comments that were made on this Berlin Buzz is, and you know, people get into it, right? It's like crazy the way it's kind of gang mentality. But I just, one of the things that I think we as a commission and the staff, obviously, you guys more than us, is to kind of think about new things we can do. And I realize, Deb, you're doing a lot, just trying to get something going for the summer for the kids and for other people. And I appreciate that. But there, you know, there can be some things that we can do that maybe don't cost a lot of money. And I'm just going to throw this out. I've said it before. Food Truck Monday. I've talked to so many people. Now, again, maybe not the time to do it with this virus going around. I realize that. But there are towns, and I've attended them, where they have food trucks show up at one of their parks, say Pistol Creek. And of course, the health district or health director gets involved and approves them and all that. Doesn't take a lot. I wouldn't think of the staff's time, but Jen, you would be better to know that. No money. It allows people to come out on every Monday night, get some food, go sit in a beautiful park that we offer and enjoy. And people are getting into now using the parks more and more all around town. And so that's something that I really would love to see our town do at some point. And again, this may not be the year to do it, but those types of ideas, and I challenge the commissioners, please, when you go to things at other towns, bring them back to us. Let's bring them to the staff and say, guys, we'd like you to look at this. And I really think that that's something that can be, it could show the people, hey, I know we have a very small department. We're doing the best we can. We're bringing in things that are kind of unique, a little different. And, we get a better name for the Parks and Rec department. So anyway, enough of that. But Jen, if there's a way Food Truck Monday, just go ahead and, start doing it.
Get past the virus first.
Yeah. Yep.
We'll get there. Don't worry.
I know.
Yep.
All right, so moving on. Summer update was next. We obviously just went over that. Community Senior Center update. Debbie and I, as well as the Senior Center staff, met with Tom, the architect, and he had put together, he's presenting his feasibility study of how much square footage the building will need to be, as well as broken down into each separate office space, meeting room section. So they're moving forward with that. We'll see how PBC reacts to that square footage number, which was pretty enormous, I think. I don't know it off the top of my head, though. And then Timberland Anniversary, Donna.
Oh, we can take that off. It's going to be next year, same time. July 17th, I think, is the date. So we won't really be doing any more work on that for right now. But and by the way, Timberland, it's in great condition. Anybody like to get out and play? It's really in great condition. And Timberland and Don can appreciate that, and Steve, maybe some of the others that were on when we had Timberland under our domain. They're making more money this year than they did last year. I say making more money, they're bringing more revenue. There's still a loss, but they're better than they were even last year, even with the virus and everything. So it's going very well.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it. That's the agenda.
Anything else? Okay. With that, Denise?
Yes, sure. I'm good.
Okay. Would you like to make a motion to end the meeting?
Okay, sure. Can I make a motion to end the meeting, agenda meeting?
Seconded?
Second.
Someone second? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, and good luck at the meeting at the town council next Tuesday, Jen. I'll call in. I'm not going to speak, but I'll call and listen. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
See you later. Be safe, everyone.
Be careful, Don, out there.
Bye.
Bye. Hey,
Bye.
Jen.